And he's honored. Well, Brett Favre on breaking his record. He says, well-deserved, Peyton. Congrats on breaking my record. Hashtag on to 600. All right. Wow. So, Stephen A., consider everything. Brett Favre says, 4 says to 18, you're great. Does this cement Peyton as the best quarterback in history?
No, it does not. I wouldn't say that it does that. It certainly puts him in the conversation. There's no question about it. When you think about the greats like Joe Montana and a few others that are champions multiple times, there's always going to be a debate about that. But I think the greatness of Peyton Manning, the greatest thing that you could say about Peyton Manning, Skip Bayless, at this particular moment in time is that it's an insult to him to measure his greatness just by his accomplishments on the football field. This guy has been the face of the NFL, arguably, for the better part of the last decade and a half. Even when he was gone, he was constantly talked about. I remember you sat here on this very set and joked that Peyton Manning, the year that he was out, should be the MVP because of how bad the Colts were without him.
That's true.
You know, when you consider all of those things, there is simply no question about his greatness as a player. But when you consider the fact that the guy is always in the news for the right reasons, that he epitomizes everything that coaches, executives, anyone associated with the NFL reveres and lauds. The reality is simply this. He is literally football royalty. He is a walking embodiment of that, not just because of his greatness, but the humility that he displays in handling that greatness. I've had the pleasure of meeting him on a couple of occasions from years ago. He's got an incredibly wonderful sense of humor. He's just a barrel of laughs as well. But the thing about him, again, is that first in the room, first to practice, last to leave, never takes days off. You not only hear people praising his accomplishments, you hear people constantly praising his work ethic, his commitment to excellence, and he is just the ultimate ambassador that I believe the NFL has ever had. And so because of that, I think that's when you talk about him, when you say, well, is he the greatest ever? He's in the conversation because of his accomplishments. But I don't know if there's ever been an individual quite as pristine and as close to perfect as he has been when we talk about what we want an NFL player to epitomize.
Okay, so back to Kerry's question. Does this cement that he's the greatest quarterback ever? You realize he broke Brett Favre's record in 56 fewer games. Think about that. 56 fewer games. That is a staggering statistic. That's even beyond the actual record itself. And what is blowing me away right now about Brett Favre is that at age 38, he's playing better than he ever has in his career.
Peyton Manning.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Peyton Manning. Yes. Right. How do you do that at age 38? How do you keep getting better? I'm seeing a man who is playing the quarterback position better than anyone has ever played it from game to game. I'm seeing a man who is operating at the highest level any quarterback has ever operated at from game to game. I'm seeing a man at 38 who has not peaked yet, who has not reached his ceiling. Is that possible? That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing it gets better by the game. That was a tour de force last night. And I'll be the first to admit, I was not a genius about last night's game because I said it was with my heart. But I picked the 49ers. You know why? Because, well, I'm rooting for New England. I'm rooting for San Diego. So that's why. But in the end, I thought, there's some big pressure on this guy to break this record on national TV on a Sunday night game. I thought maybe he'll press a little bit. Was that not greatness?
Yeah.
Like from start to finish, you just knew he was going to break the record. This is against a pretty good 49er team. He picked it to pieces. It was still a little bit of a game in the third quarter, but then it just broke open like the floodgates from heaven broke open. And that last touchdown, the game breaker to Demaryius down the middle, it was as sweet a throw as he's made in his whole career. So now, is it even fair to bring up the fact today, it's almost like, did the Super Bowl really happen? Was that just a bad dream? Did that really happen? 43-8. Remember that game?
Well, what do you mean? Wait, do you mean because he played so awful? It just doesn't seem that.
No, it's impossible what happened. You can't do that. 43-8. We both picked Denver to win the Super Bowl.
As did most.
How is that possible? 43-8. So that dropped Peyton's postseason playoff record to 11-12. 11 wins, 12 losses. Yeah. He's now played in 3 Super Bowls, and as you know, he won the first one, albeit against Rex Grossman's Chicago Bears. Then he lost to Drew Brees. Then he lost to the Seattle Seahawks. So it's not stellar in the postseason. But what I'm saying is, his team looked stellar last night. It looked like a Super Bowl team to me last night, like better than it looked at any point in the season last year. So is it possible he ain't done yet in the postseason? Could he go win another, I don't know, dare I say, a couple of Super Bowls?
Let's let him get one first.
Okay, well, let's let him get one. Okay, but I'm saying I don't see an end to Peyton Manning. And again, you brought this up. The gold standard is Joe Montana went 4 for 4 in Super Bowls. He should have won all 4 MVPs. They gave it to Jerry Rice in the Boomer Esiason game. That was one with the last.
Let's not forget Terry Bradshaw too with those 4 Super Bowls.
All right, but still, Joe should have won all 4 MVPs. So it's Jordan-esque, who obviously went 6 for 6 with MVPs. But that's hard for Peyton to overcome if you're just going to do Super Bowls, or if you're just going to do postseason record 11-12. Won't get it done. But no one has played the position better than he has played it. And I'm sure there are those out there right now this morning who are saying, just on touchdown passes alone, that makes him the greatest quarterback ever. I'm sure we're going to hear that today.
Well, you're going to hear that, no doubt about it. The man has completed over 65% of his passes in his career. He's already passed for over 66,000 yards, 66,800 if I remember correctly. When you look at what he brings to the table, a career quarterback rating of 97, Peyton Manning is no joke. We understand that. I think when you look at last night's game, I mean, when you look at free safety Eric Reed taking the night off, the way he was getting obliterated.
You know, by the way, I thought they just quit.
Yeah, I thought they did too.
Quit.
I never saw a Jim Harbaugh team play like that. Now Aldon Smith and Bowman is out, and then Patrick Willis is out. So we understand it, but still in all, a character team like Jim Harbaugh's teams usually are, particularly on the road, to see them just quit like that last night, it was quite embarrassing. I've never seen that happen in the Jim Harbaugh era. I think that his time may be up in San Francisco eventually, because you just see something different in the air. Getting back to Peyton Manning, what I would say to you though is, let's not forget the weapons he has at his disposal. I am in no way, that's why I want to start off this show talking about the greatness of Peyton Manning. Right. We don't want to take anything away from them. But let's understand something here. Emmanuel Sanders, Demaryius Thomas, and Julius Thomas with Wes Welker are 4 of the most, when you combine them, is 4 of the most lethal weapons we have seen from a receiving corps in quite some time in the NFL.
I would agree.
A matter of fact, I think we need to go back in history at some point in time this week and really analyze, can we recall of a team that has had 4 receiving weapons together, the 4 horsemen. That's my new nickname for them, the 4 horsemen.
Did you just come up with that?
Well, no, I just did. I just did. Because, with the 4. Well, I'm a wrestler. I'm a wrestling lover too. I mean, I used to like wrestling in the past with Ric Flair and the crew, the 4 horsemen. That's me. Woo!
Wait, I'm a Grantland Rice lover here, and I'm the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, the greatest lead ever written in any sports story ever. That's before you.
That is way before my time.
Somebody out there, some people in our audience,
I understand.
Thank you for saying that.
That's why we cover the whole gamut. We cover the whole gamut, baby. But the point that I'm making to you is, I'm really challenged when I think about the great teams.
You know what?
NFL history.
I think you just nailed it. I'm not sure there has ever been.
I'm not sure there has ever been. So while we're sitting here and praising Peyton Manning, and rightfully so, let's keep in mind that part of the reason he's looking better and better is because the crew that he has, that he's throwing that football to, is as lethal as it gets as a unit.
But the other side to that coin is, are you sure that Peyton isn't making those 4 look better than they might be without him?
Well, let me ask you this. I saw Emmanuel Sanders be Emmanuel Sanders when he was in Pittsburgh for Ben Roethlisberger. I saw Demaryius Thomas look a lot like Demaryius Thomas, even when Tim Tebow was there.
He made one big play, I know that.
So I saw Wes Welker do it for Tom Brady.
Okay.
So again, they've been other places or with other people where they have shown that their level of production could be comparable to what we're witnessing right now. We didn't know about Julius Thomas until Peyton Manning came along. But if you look at them as a receiving corps, let me tell you something. I don't know if I could. Of course, Peyton Manning deserves some of the credit because he's the quarterback. And he's the ringleader, and he's got them practicing all the time, and they work hard for him. He works hard for and with them, etc. Ultimately, he deserves the boatload of the credit.
Yep.
But I'm just saying their skill set and what they bring to the table, the combination of those four dudes can make a lot of quarterbacks
There
look
haven't
great.
been four. There are lots of twos.
That's right.
You
not
know,
four.
You can do Swan and Stallworth.
That's right. Clayton and Duper.
Okay, but those weren't great teams.
That's
but
right. But I'm saying with Marino, Clayton, Duper, yes.
Okay, and then you can do Rice and John Taylor.
There you go.
But not the four horsemen.
No, you can't
as
do
we've
four.
Done that.
No.
Yeah.
But listen, what Peyton is doing right now, he is making his decisions so quickly, and he's getting rid of the ball so quickly that they're wide open, and he hits them with a floater that's so easy to catch. This is not the greatest arm we've ever seen. Am I right about that?
I know that. But here's my thing, Skip. I've seen Peyton Manning throw a screen, and Demaryius Thomas turn that into a 70, 80-yard touchdown.
Okay.
I've seen Emmanuel Sanders turn a cross pattern into a 50-yard, 60-yard. Listen, Julius Thomas, I mean, this dude is going to break all types of tight end records if he keeps on this pace. Look, man, these boys are no joke. And Wes Welker, I kept telling you when you kept talking about Danny Amendola, I said Wes Welker with his, I mean, you're talking about a 5 to 6 year span in New England where this dude was catching anywhere from 90 to 105 receptions or more. This dude was big time.
Well,
let's not ignore that.
Emmanuel Sanders keeps getting picks from the referee on the first touchdown pass. Could we just show that real quick, just for my edification, please?
Why? What's the problem?
Let's see.
Because he got picked.
Are you whining about that?
He got picked.
Now?
Well, he runs his defender right in the referee, and the referee and the defender wind up on their butts.
We got it. Let's play it one more.
That's good. Good on his.
See, this is how good Peyton is. He gets the refs to pick for him. Just for that was the first touchdown.
That was for, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
For your edification.
I just had to do that.